Hi everyone, my name is Yeven and I'm making this video to speak about web development a little bit and in the context of a beginner because I have had a situation when one of my friends started learning web development with a ChatGPT and she was overwhelmed with the uh, list of technologies and requirements that ChatGPT provided to her for becoming a web developer. So I kind of became curious about this, and I went to ChatGPT myself and asked the most advanced AI model to provide me with the list of technologies that I need to a master to become a web developer. I am a web developer myself. Right now, I'm working as an architect, but I have a lot of web development experience. So I asked ChatGPT and I wanted to assess how it will cope with the task of providing me with the most essential technologies. And honestly, I was shocked because the chat provided me with so many technologies that was a jaw-dropping experience for me. Uh, Look, I saved these technologies in Notepad, and actually, the chat provided me with 11 categories. In each of these 11 categories, there is a list of technologies that the chat says is necessary or highly desirable for a web developer. Honestly, I consider myself a successful web developer, but I don't know and never touch and never dealt with all like most of these technologies, more than half. Yes, so it's really a maximalist demands, maximalist view, and it can confuse beginners because they don't understand that we don't need to learn all of these technologies to become a web developer. We just need to learn the core, the basis of web development, and then we need to pick some of the most used and advanced technologies that are sufficient for producing a desired output to make a product, yes, to make a website or web application. So in this video, I want to make an overview of all the most essential technologies and to provide some idea what happens in reality, yes, regarding expertise, regarding what is required at the job place, like real job. So beginners, people who are interested in learning web development, they're not confused and they also understand how they need to deal with new advancement, new innovations like AI, so they can still be successful in this market. So let's start with the core. So the core of web development are the three technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML, it's a layout technology. It provides a skeleton of a website. Yes, so you create a layout, yes, a structure of a website of its content, and a browser, which is a computer program, knows how to interpret these symbols in HTML and how to create an actual structure of a website. Yes, it's a specific technology for a browser. Yes, and CSS, it's like supplementing technology. It's not about the structure of the website, it's about the look of the website. So it is responsible for styles. Again, browser like Google Chrome, Mozilla, Safari, they know how to interpret those symbols from CSS and how to apply them on top of HTML, the structure, to produce a look, yes, colors, shapes, some, flexibility of the website, how it changes its looks depending on browser window, how wide and high it is. Yes. And JavaScript, it's the technology that is responsible for logic. It's a programming language. This defines the behavior that you observe on any website. For example, you navigate from a page to another page, JavaScript that will close the previous page, send the request for the next page, and return the data for this page. And then it will also request like HTML and CSS for this page, as all of this coming back from the source, which will be most probably web server. Yes, and then you it will display on the next page, or it will help you navigate within one page. For example, open some window, close window, produce a pop-up. So it's all behavior. It's logic. Yes, it's JavaScript that is responsible for this logic. So these are the core technologies. So anyone who wants to start learning web development must start from these three, because everything else is built on top of them. Yes, and without knowing these technologies, you will not be able to make any product. No web page, no web application, nothing. Then we can come and review the four main categories of technologies that are needed for web development. These are not all technologies, but these are probably something that if you have this, you can already call yourself a web developer. You can already apply for jobs, and you have that foundation that allows you to do a real job. Yes. So first category is front end. It is all those three technologies that we have already reviewed, and it is also development frameworks such as React, Angular, Vue.js. These frameworks, you can say they extend JavaScript capabilities, because they're also responsible for logic, for rendering a page as produced, and for behaviors on the website. They're more powerful, so they're built on top of JavaScript. They're more powerful. They provide more capabilities and flexibility. But basically, you can survive without React, Angular, and Vue.js. If you do, for example, your own project, it's sufficient for front end to have HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But again, in the labor market, you cannot survive, because like employers will expect from you to know at least one of these front end frameworks. Whether React, Angular, Vue.js. So one of them is necessary to learn, and I don't recommend to learn more than one, because otherwise you don't increase your value so much, but it's a lot of work. So I recommend to learn one, but it's up to you. If you know all of them, it's very good. Then we have backend, because some people who are new to this field, like web development, IT in general, they don't understand a clear difference between web developer and front-end developer. Front-end developer, it's a more narrow field. Yes, front-end developer, it's this first category. He or she is responsible for building the looks and behavior on the start front. Yes, in the interface where user communicates with the system, user interface. But web developer encompasses many more fields, including backend. So it is also technologies for communicating with the server and database. Yeah, so basically, for the storefront, for the web page, you need data. Except for the looks, you need data. Yes, so that will, perform its function. Yes, provide required details and information to users, and all of this data is on backend. Yes, it's stored in database, and it's returned by server. That's why you need technologies to communicate with the backend, with the sources of data, with the database and server. So these technologies are also programming languages. For example, Node.js, .NET, PHP, Java. So again, you don't need to learn all of them. I recommend to learn only one. For example, I know Node.js pretty well. I also know Python, but Node.js will be my first language. Yes, Node.js, it stands for JavaScript, but it's a kind of runtime environment engine. So it's kind of engine, and JavaScript is programming language which used by this engine to run logic. So I'm fluent. In this language, but I also know Python. I know PowerShell a little bit, but uh, no need to learn more than one, because especially with the modern AI, it's very easy to translate from one language to another. For example, I often translate from JavaScript or Python to PowerShell, and then I just refine, make small changes in the final output of AI. But because if you learn all of them, it's a lot of effort, and like return on investment, ROI, is not so big. Yes, for learning more than one programming language. So learn one, and if you learn one, you will be able to work with another one with the help of AI. Then the third stack of technology is database, how to communicate and work with the database. For example, we have MySQL. MySQL is something like a programming language. It's a protocol of communicating with databases. We have SQL. Yes, it's like a big technology, like overarching technology. And MySQL, it's a type of a protocol with some certain syntax. You can call it programming language if you want, because you also can write logic and write like a programming language with SQL. So there are some protocols of this big technology SQL or SQL, and MySQL one of them, or some Microsoft SQL, and some others. You see here Oracle. It will be a management program. It will be a program that you use for using that you use where you use SQL. Yes, where you write your commands, send them, receive responses. Yes, so another example would be Microsoft Server Studio Management. It's another program where you work with SQL, and Oracle is one of the most used in the market. So then we have server architecture. You have some example like Apache, Lightspeed. They stand behind web server. So you need a web server which the foundation of your backend, where you store like most of there are also scripts on server. So you have scripts on front end, yes, on your like put mapped on your layout. Yeah, these scripts are responsible for the front end logic, but there are also scripts on the server side which also run logic, sometimes very complex logic to provide complex responses. Yes, if database is the primary source of just clean data, like names, titles, addresses, prices, product categories, whatever. Yes, server will be a powerful remote machine that provides you with complex logic that you cannot store in the front end. And Apache, Lightspeed, and Kings, it's all technology that let you that you use. You use this server architecture, to build your communication between front end and back end, between server and between your front end logic, which constantly exchange information depending on users' actions on the website. So these are the foundations, and it doesn't look as intimidating as if you see the whole list provided by ChatGPT, 11 categories and up to 10 positions in every category. And there is something like for testing, for DevOps, for cybersecurity. I mean, it's all important, but it's already a lot, and nobody knows it all. Yes, and if you try to learn it all, it's gonna be like it's gonna be daunting, and you'll probably just decide that it's not achievable at all. So now I will explain what you can expect in the labor market. I have this abstract picture with the circles overlapping each other. So let's imagine your competencies, what you learned. For example, you learned the core technologies, yes, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then you learn, for example, React, Node.js. You learn SQL, you learn program management program like Oracle, you learn web servers and their architecture. And you created this circle, green circle, which are your competencies, yes, your qualification. And these circles are qualification required at a certain workplace, for example, company A, company B, company C. Yes, as you see in the real job market, if you apply to all three companies, you will cover only part of the qualification that this company requires. Yes, all other qualification you will need to learn at the workplace. It's a big luck if your circle fully overlaps the circle of a company. Yes, if your qualification is exactly what they need, and company understand this, they understand this limitation, so they try to find someone who has the foundation, knows core technologies, and then they teach that person the rest. Yes, all the specifics of their business and all the specifics of their technical setup. So don't try to learn everything, because it's unlikely you will be able to cover the whole market. You just need to learn the core technologies, be really good at them, and then you need to find your company that will be there. You can overlap like uh, half or even less of their core qualification, and also show willingness to learn and to understand their business. And then at the workplace itself, you will be able to fully cover their circle. Yes. So thank you for your attention. I hope it will be helpful for someone, because I don't want you to be in the situation that my friend was when she asked ChatGPT, received this crazy list, and was like, oh no, I will never do that. Yes, you can do it. It's not, ChatGPT normally provides very maximalist requirements. It's difficult to follow. Okay, take care. Bye bye.